Hi YouTube, Dingle here. Right, today I'm going to talk to you about playing fast. Right, the subject of playing fast. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that important. What's most important is the music that you play. Whether or not what you're playing, whether it's fast or slow, actually conveys something or says something or makes people happy or moves people or makes people sad or whatever. If it doesn't have that, then it's pointless anyway. But most guitar players out there, especially electric guitar players, at some point in their career will want to be able to play fast. So what I'd like to talk about today are some things that maybe are less obvious, perhaps ought to be obvious, but seem to be less obvious. There's a ton of stuff out there, especially on YouTube, lessons of people showing you how to play fast licks and picking techniques and the best way to pick and all the rest of it. So I'm not going to do that today. There are people out there that are much better at it than I am. And I think if you watch YouTube regularly and you watch guitar players regularly, there's so many different techniques out there that for me to show you how I do it perhaps wouldn't suit you. Perhaps you have a different style, different technique that works for you. So I'm not going to actually talk about technique as such. One of the most important and most overlooked aspects of playing fast is being able to play without having to think too much about what you're doing. It really should come as second nature. If you're having to think about what scales you're going to play, where the notes are, and worrying about whether you're going to land on the right note or not, whether you're going to play the right note groupings for the particular key you're in, then that is going to slow you down. So what you need to be able to do is have enough fretboard knowledge to be able to not have to think about it when you want that kind of burst of speed. And I'll give you just a short example. Okay, in the key of C sharp minor, which of course is relative to E major, so in order to play in this key and turn on a burst of speed if you want it, you need to know where your scales are, where your modes are, and which licks that are going to work with this key and which ones aren't. So for instance, I might sort of start here on the 9th fret on the low E string, play a 6-note pattern, and then I have the option of moving it up an octave, or I could go and then move to the 12th fret, so I'm now in the E major position, and then what I did there is I moved to the 13th fret position, or I could play from the 12th fret again, So all of that works with that key. You might want to avoid doing that because that note's not in the scale. So fretboard knowledge is quite important, and being armed with that knowledge will certainly be handy when you want to turn on some speed, because if that knowledge is sort of ingrained in your mind and is second nature, you won't have to think about it too much. You'll instinctively know where you can play and where it's just going to be right. Another aspect that I want to look at today is training your fingers to maybe do things that don't quite feel natural. Any of you guys out there that are into fast alternate picking, etc., can probably do things like this. And sort of generic alternate picking exercises. But how often would you force yourself, for instance, to do that backwards? If you're not used to doing this kind of thing, it feels kind of weird at first. In fact, it still feels weird to me now, and I've been doing it for quite a long time. But it's certainly a good exercise to kind of get your fingers to do what your brain tells them, rather than your muscles just responding and kind of instinctively doing what they think they should do. Which sounds silly, because muscles don't think, really, do they? So all that feels perfectly natural, to ascend the notes whilst picking down the strings, and to descend coming back. But to descend going up that way and ascend the notes coming back feels a little bit weird. Your right hand's not doing anything different at all. It's still picking the same pattern. So basically then, just a couple of perhaps less than obvious things that tend to get overlooked. Fretboard knowledge and your theory knowledge, musical knowledge, will certainly help you to turn on the speed when you want it. And training your fingers to do things that don't quite feel natural will certainly help as well.